He has written 2 books dedicated to the youth of India, and they are both bestsellers. One is An Expert's Guide to Your Right First Job, and the second one is 101 Jobs, Entry-Level Jobs for MBAs and Graduates. Both the books are available on Amazon at a very reasonable price. We will be putting this link in the description, and you can go and purchase these books. Now, I would like to invite TMD, and he would like to first make a presentation on resumes, and then we will go ahead and review the 4 resumes that we've selected. Please do subscribe to this channel, because we're going to get a lot more events. We're going to get a lot more leaders who will be talking with Mr. T. Muralidharan. This is entirely focused on career conversations, jobs and careers. So please do subscribe to the channel and hit on the bell icon. Please post your career queries on the comment section. One question, which is the best question, that person will get a one-on-one interview with Mr. T. Muralidharan for 30 minutes. Over to you, TMD. I'll be sharing my screen for the presentation.
Thank you, Akshita. I think, first of all, thank you all for finding time to come and for this session. I have been in recruiting business. I've been a recruiter for more than 30 years now. Some of the people have hired them, they become chief CEOs and MDs of companies. Some of them have become senior vice presidents. So my experience is trying to understand how the resumes have changed with time. So resumes have not remained the same. There was a time resumes were written in certain style. So today when we're going to talk about what are the best practices, it should be in relation to, in my mind, what will work right now. I'm not going to talk about what was 30 years ago. That's not important to you. What we do now, TMI today, one of the largest recruiting firms in the country. We hire very large number of people in sectors like BFSI, IT. We hire in the area for India. We are also working in Japan. We are trying to export manpower to Germany. So my life has been trying to tell people about Indian talent. I have a great amount of respect and pride about Indian talent. And therefore, my entire exercise, even in the book and as well as today's conversation, is all of you have great potential, but many times you don't know how to market yourself. The first thing you must understand about a resume is your marketing instrument. It is a document which goes before you meet the recruiter, before you meet the company, before you meet the HR head, before you get a call from somebody, your resume goes ahead of that. The resume is your story. It tells the person who you are, and the purpose of resume in many cases is to give a concise understanding of who you are, so that the person can make up his mind to shortlist you or not shortlist you. So the first outcome from a resume is, do I shortlist this person or reject it? The chances of rejections are very high, because for every one position, we ourselves give 10 to 12 people per position. So 10 of them get rejected. Only one or two people get shortlisted. So the idea is to be in that shortlist. So the resume is something which goes ahead of you. It tells you a story. It helps in shortlisting. Second thing resume does is, when you go for the interview, people look at the resume and ask questions in the interview based on what you have written. So what you write in the resume is also very important. And I've written in my earlier book, one of the first books, about the mistake I did while making a resume, where I wrote something which I did not mean I lost a job. You can check that up in the first book on Expert Guide to the Right First Job. I written my own experience when I went for an interview with Hindustan Lever and how I messed it up. The next slide. So the first thing is resume. Many of us don't understand. You think you're writing a resume like Eiffel Tower. On the left-hand side is the Eiffel Tower. This is what you think you are writing. And this is what the other person sees, which is basically a transmission tower for electricity. You can imagine the value of Eiffel Tower today is one of the most popular tower in the world. And there are 1 million such transmission lines. So this is what you think you are writing. This is what the other party is seeing. And the shortlisting is made based on what on the right hand side. This is what I want you to understand. That's why the figure is shown. Next slide. the most important thing in a resume, what are the people looking for, right? When I do the number of, when we do the interview, when you talk to recruiters, everybody looks at the following. First and important fitment they do, which company are you working in and what is the job role you're doing currently. So work experience is the biggest weightage in terms of importance. We asked him various things, what do you look for in a resume? And this is how they are rated. Number one, work experience. Number two, is the qualifications relevant to that particular job role. Number three, which college, which is the premier institute are you coming from? If you're coming from a premier institute, it adds value to your resume. And it also talks about top 5 accomplishments. The first bottom 4 is what is very important. Next slide. So the sections of resume, if you look at it, there are some contact details, which is what you write on top. Somebody wants to contact you, your telephone number, email ID. Then you see the way work experience is the first thing that we are looking for. We're looking for a section on training and certification because that's part of the skills, then the qualification, then extracurricular activities. If it is relevant to the job role, we want to highlight, and then the top 5 accomplishments. And then you write something on strength. These are the various sections of a resume, especially for a fresher. The fresher work experience will be limited, so therefore we add up the other portions. If you work for 6 months, 8 months somewhere else, you have to highlight that work experience. Otherwise, for a fresher, work experience may not be relevant, but the rest of them will be relevant. Next slide. Yeah, so this I think is a very important slide. When I look at a resume, how do I decide? How do I comment on the resume? First, I look for look and feel. You can see this. This itself is a good example how nicely it has been done. This slide, look and feel, is what when I look at the resume, spelling mistake should not be there, the alignment should not be there. This is called look and feel when you look at the resume. Second, many people make resumes with multiple colors, 5 colors, 6 colors. You should have minimal highlighting. That means some parts of the resume you want to highlight, and you can use it through font and color. That means boldface is called a font and the color is red color, blue color, but very minimal amount you have to use. You should not be very jazzy. Third is work history. You must put work history in the reverse. If you're working in a job, last current job, previous job, not the first job, second job, third job. Never. It's always the reverse order. It should be the current job and the previous job and so on. It should not be too long. So when you write a resume, if you write a resume of 4 pages, nobody reads it. Resume has to be very crisp. At the same time, it should not be so short that I can't make out what you're trying to say, right? And total time, typically a person spends, the recruiter looks at the resume. When I look at a resume, I'm not spending more than 15 seconds to decide whether I want to throw it on the left or on the right. Left means reject. Right means let me look at it more closely. This is what I do. So 15 seconds is what you get. Your story has to be told in 15 seconds. The first part is whether you are introducing yourself properly. I told you that in your absence, this is somebody, resume is standing in front of the recruiter, and recruiter is looking at the resume is talking to him. So your resume starts by saying, who am I? Where am I right now? This is what the first thing is important. And then the top 3 skills. I said the skills today has become very, very important. And therefore you talk about the top 3 skills with certification and the educational highlight. And most important, customize the resume and cover letter for every single job role. There is nothing like a standard resume. The resume has to be customized for every job role. So when we review also today, the first question I'm going to understand is what job role are you applying for? And therefore the resume has to be configured. Okay. Is it done?
Yes. So I absolutely agree with everything that you said, TMD, but I don't think they're going to understand fully unless we show them some examples of some good CVs that you've come across. So I think we should take some time and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be showing some resumes and you can tell what you liked about this. So this is the first resume that, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, this person's resume, I made it along with him. It took some 9 rounds. He's an IIM Ahmedabad alumni. He's my classmate. He was the CFO of a large company, right? But if you see the resume, it took to 9 rounds, at least more than 15 days we took to refine. And that's why I called it as a good, look at the way On the top, what do you want to say? He says, I am Ahmedabad. That's what he wants to highlight. So the bold font is saying I am Ahmedabad. Everybody knows I am Ahmedabad. It's not easy to come. It's a very, very special place. So you positioned it very well. Look at the SSLC from Tamil Nadu, second rank. It's important. People say your merit, your second rank from the state. He's highlighting it very, very carefully. So, and then he puts his costing and also ACS. Now, all these are all very, very important for you to understand that what he highlights is what the eye will see. I will not see everything. Nobody reads everything. They just see 23 years, financial management, and so on. So this is a good example. It's very clean. It's very well aligned, very minimal font and very minimal of highlights. And all the points which I mentioned earlier are covered in this. So this is one example, but this is for a senior person, a person with more than 20 years. Let's look at the Preeti Singh case. She's actually a much younger person. She's probably worked for less than 15 years or 10 years. Other gentleman is much older. But in our case, she's not from a premier school. So what she has done is started directly by talking about what is her current position, what is she doing right now, and then put a synopsis of skills, which is what we talked about, top 3 skills. Go down. On the top is where your contacts are very clearly mentioned. Many times people don't write the contacts. When I see a resume, if I want to call that person instantly, I must be able to see a phone number and call him. So the number that's at the top, she has clearly mentioned a contacts. Then she has put her education. You can see that clearly, very clearly font. Postgraduate is what she wants to highlight, and postgraduate diploma is what she wants to highlight first. It's the reverse chronological order, as I told you. Top is the latest qualification and going downwards. Go down. Then she puts a professional experience. I think it's chronological, what I said. Basically, where she worked, what is the job she did, and what is the each and every job she mentioned, which period to which period she worked, which is also important. And she's added something on languages and interest. So if you look at the 2-page resume, but by looking at it, I know she's a very, very professional. She has written it very clearly what she wants to highlight. And this. So Anu Srinivasan is a very creative person. So I giving an example of a PowerPoint presentation made by this person to send it to some senior level. And this again, look at the way she is organized the PPT. The first one is, as I said, something about her, that the top skills that she has got. Objective means what she wants to do with her life. What is the current objective of life? Then she puts her experience very, very clearly. Yeah, next slide. And she has highlighted the most important, this position she was applying for was for corporate communication role. And therefore she has put a lot of emphasis on this particular job role, what she is applying for, so that you know the other person, she has worked in the same job role, similar. And then the other experiences have been highlighted separately. So this is a very creative way of presentation. Sometimes this works, but I would prefer for a junior level position, especially Preeti Singh kind of resume format will be the ideal. Shall we go to the 4 cases now? What you have collected?
Yes, TMD. So let's start with Mr. Preetham. He has sent us his resume. So I'll just share my screen. So this is one resume that we received. And this is Mr. Preetham. We are looking at what kind of improvement can we make and how much would you rank the CV on a scale of 10?
All right. Okay.
10 being the best.
Is he on the call right now?
Yeah, Preetham is there, TMD, and you can interact with him directly. Preetham, would you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Yes. Can you put your video on?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I think, Preetham, I think I'm going to comment your on your resume, right? The first thing you notice is that you put your contact details clearly, but I would not put it on the left-hand side. I would have taken it on the right and put it in the corner. But that's not a high priority thing. I want to right? First, I said, I want to know, when I look at the resume, I want to know who is this gentleman, Shripadi Preetham, right? So you said objective. It was with my managerial analytical skills and moral values, working in a productive. This is your career objective, right? But what I want to know that I would like to say, first statement would be, I am Preetham or Sripadi, whatever name you want to call. I am 24 years old and I'm an analytical person. I'm very, very strong in value system. I'm looking for an assignment to work in a company which is focusing on growth so that I can really add value. So somewhere you should bring in as if you are talking to that person one-on-one. So that's what I will change that first paragraph. Then go back to work experience. The work experience, first of all, if you look at it, your total number of experience is what? 1 year, right? That is the date of joining is 12th of March. And prior to that, how many did the total number of years experience? Preetham is correct?
Yes, sir.
So if you're looking at a 1 year experience, that's what you have, let's say March to March 2022. So our first one is you talk about speed labs. Now, people may not know what speed labs is. So if they don't know which company, I told you the first thing people want to know work experiences, which company and which industry you're working in. So I would have written there, my company Speed Labs, one of the top 5 companies in this space. What does the company do? And what is the ranking of the company? Somewhere to describe the company to make me feel, hey, you work for a very interesting company because I've not heard of the name, right? If you've not heard of the name, you should give a description to the company so that I can understand which company. Then it explains clearly team leader, date of joining is so and so, and description employee productivity, amenities. See, if you look at the spelling amenities, can you see that? That's a mistake. It's not a right spelling. Is I don't know what amenities you mean, right? AME maybe one word, but AMI I've not heard this word. So check the spelling of this. Never make a spelling mistake on the resume. People will notice it, right? But here, by looking at this, I can't make out what exactly you do as a team leader. What did you do? Were you head of pre-sales or you head of sales? What did you do?
So basically, I'm the head of the sales, like managing a team
So
of
it is
12.
not coming out. It is not coming nowhere. It comes out that you are a head of sales. It only says team leader. So I would say that I am a sales team lead in sales, in B2B sales or B2C sales or online sales or international sales. So some description should come on the position. That team leader is not enough. Okay. And the other one is okay, support and administration of compliance, plans, etc. I will probably condense it because in 1 year you don't become an expert. You should only highlight 2 or 3 things. Which are the 2 or 3 things you'll highlight depending on what position you're going to apply for. There is no standard resume, I told you. You cannot use this resume for every job role. If you're applying, let us say, for a company which is also similar to Speed Labs, then you'll have to highlight they're looking for a higher position, managerial position, then you have to demonstrate you have a managerial capability. Okay.
So TMI, I just have one question here. I think from what I gather from what you're saying, whatever I gathered from what you're saying is the resume has to be customized for the position that you're applying for. Is that true?
Position and the company, both.
The company both. Okay.
Because the person who's reading the resume should think it is written for me, not for some third party, right? It should be written for me. Me means I'm recruiting for this company in this role. I'm the company, right? It should be written for them. There is nothing like a standard. You have a standard resume to start with. Then you edit it depending on what you want to say. All right. For example, the projects and internship, Go Speedy. I don't know who these companies are. IDBI, Federal, I know, Rajamundry, employee motivation and improvement. Then the question will be, well, how is it relevant to the company you are applying now? Suppose you are applying for a job in sales, then employee motivation and empowerment may not be important. I may drop it off. So you should not, resume is not about telling everything you want to say about yourself. No, wrong. You should say everything the other party wants to know to make up his mind. You got that, Preetham? Resume is not your story about whatever you want to tell him. You have to ask this. I got 15 seconds. In 15 seconds, he's going to decide to throw the paper on the left or on the right. What should I say in 15 seconds to make him say, oh, this guy, I think I want to meet him. You understand that? Now, looking at academic qualification, for example, you mentioned your Bachelor of Technology, JNTU, 2020, 61%. Now, the question will be, is 61% good enough percentage? You mention it or not? If you look at it, You did 87%, 86% in the past, but you want engineering, the percentage has dropped, right? So I may not put 61%, 86%. I will put first class there and leave it because it is against your interest. You're actually saying you're gone into the engineering college and started doing worse than what you did in school. That's how it looks like, right? So I will cut it off. Strength and weaknesses, fine, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Technical skills should come right on top because I told you skills should come on top. Should not come in the bottom. Okay. Things like workshop and all that is not important. Nobody reads all this. Similarly, accomplishments is too long for a 1 year resume, 1 year experience. Your resume should be 1 page. At the best, 1.5 pages. Now you decide what will you put inside that resume to make sure the person shortlists you in 15 seconds. Have you understood, Preetham?
Yes.
Otherwise, look and feel is fine, font is fine. I'll probably put a border on this a little bit. And otherwise, it's too long. The resume 3 pages is too much. Okay. Next slide. Next person.
Thank you, Preetham. And TMD, while I get the other resume, I want to ask you, how important are personal interests on a CV? Is it important to mention that?
No, you should mention, first of all, they need to know who you are. So your personal interest will tell you something about you, right? Like, for example, you mentioned I'm a lawyer, I am this. That is not what I am. I studied that. Yeah. But what I am is a person with a lot of social interest. I want to do something for society. I want to work with young people. This is what I am. So your interest should be dovetailed into who you are. The first paragraph when you write, you should say, I am Muralidharan, I'm 64 years old. I'm very passionate about working with young people. And I believe Indian talent is one of the best in the world. And I want to work with them. Now, if you write that description, everybody, oh, this is what the person is. So the interest, like horse riding, I like horse riding. How does it matter to this job? Not worth mentioning. Cut it off.
I think another key thing that we have to understand is we can't spend like 20-30 minutes to make our resume. We really have to sit and think it through and spend a decent amount of time to get the resume, at least the standard resume, and then we can follow up with the customized version.
See, typically when I make my resume, even today, it takes some time, 24 hours. It takes time because he is representing, the resume is representing you in your absence.
Yes.
Right? It is not some postcard which goes there. People have no time to look at the postcard. No, it has to speak out. Every word matters. The spacing in that thing matters. Like you saw it, a lot of spacing is there. I'll cut down the spacing because you got only 1 page because nobody has the patience to see second and third page. See, many people don't know this one important fact. I'll tell you, Shida, that when you roll the page over, people forget the previous page.
Absolutely.
Psychologically, people don't remember what is the previous page. So what you do, you try, and if you can tell it a 1-page story, the chances are very high. You'll see the whole page in totality. Otherwise, some page 3, you mentioned very important information, you have forgotten the page 1 and page 3.
Agree.
So standard rule is 1 page, maybe 2 pages. That's it. You must tell a story. That's why it's called a summary, what you mentioned. But what should be in the 2 page will vary from customer to customer, employer to employer, role to role, and person to person. Okay.
Okay. So let's go to the next resume. Mr. Yash, I would request you to come on video or just unmute yourself so that you can talk to him. Yash, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Yash. Again, can I see you?
Sure. Actually, sir, I'm traveling.
He's traveling.
All right. Okay. Are you ready for your feedback?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
So Yash, since you're traveling, I will be muting you so that there's no disturbance and you can unmute yourself whenever you have a question.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. What I like about this thing is the first part, top is Yash guy, BE computer science, very important. Moment you put computer science, then companies are interested in you because they're very, very specialized area. Mobile number is there, email ID is there, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very good link to give because people can click through and see what it they want to see. The only thing I would do is I would take out Yash guy, BE computer science, mobile, Gmail, and LinkedIn. I'll shift it to the right. but that's not important right now. I can do additionally, but my flow is going to be, who's this guy? Yes, guy. Who's this person? Then look at the personal details. Father's name. I don't want to know his father's name. I don't want to know his address right now. That is something I'll remove it from there, Yash. I will not even put it there at the top. It is not important. See, you got 15 seconds. I'm going to study your resume, right? I don't want to know who your father is. Okay. So that should have been taken to the bottom. I'll take it at the bottom if you want. I'll skip it altogether. Third is the standard resume says career objective. I would remove that, and headline should be about me. Just put a header called about me, and you write one paragraph about who is this gentleman called Guy. Can you tell me how will you introduce yourself?
Sure, sir. Sir, my name, I am Yash. Currently, I am pursuing my BTech in CSC.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I am audible, sir.
Tell me something about your personality. What kind of person are you? What kind of person are you?
You're muted, Yash. Maybe you can tell about like outgoing person hai, ya if you're a reserved kind of a person.
What do you know about? How will you not introduce to me as a person, not as what you study? You've done that already, right? What will you say about yourself? What are you passionate about? What do you do very well? What's your attitude? Whatever you want to say that now.
You'll have to unmute yourself, Yash. I think we've lost him, TMD, since he was traveling. But I think let's go ahead and review his resume. And when he comes back, we'll try to connect with him again.
All right. So my comments are the career objective to be replaced by about me. Right.
So I will just fill in for him. And for example, as Yash, maybe I'm a reserved person, and I like to read books, and I'm kind of a geek. If I tell you that, what would you say?
Yeah, in relation to the job role you're applying, if you're right, let's say you're applying for an IT job, then you would say, I am Yash. I am in final year of computer science. I love computer science. One of my favorite subjects is in analytics. And I'm very passionate about this. I spend a lot of time doing a lot of programming. And so that you want to communicate that message in relation to the job role. What is about you want to tell that person? You understand?
I'll twist this around a bit. And suppose I am a reserved person, but I am extremely passionate about marketing and I want to go into the field of marketing. Then how should I present myself?
Yeah. So for example, I would say that I am a very reserved person, but I'm also an intellectual. And I believe I also do a lot of analytical work and also do a lot of data analytics to understand the consumers before I make my pitch. And therefore, reserved person does not mean you can't be a marketing person, right? Marketing person is one who understands the customer first before he speaks. So a reserved person sometimes are very good in marketing. So you have to position your part of your personality that is in favor of that particular role.
Agreed.
Okay? Then academic qualification, you see the same thing here. He has put 89%, 70%, 78. 78% is far better than 61%, which you saw.
But TMD, should he be putting this since it is expected in August next year?
Yeah,
Do you think he should be putting this?
You should not put, no, you should put aggregate till the year which you have. That means aggregate till 8th semester or 7th semester you have to put. You can't put anticipated number for next year. Then August 23, you don't know what the number will be. That is not correct. Okay. I would put 77% aggregate till 7th semester, right?
Okay.
Then class 12, yeah. See, one of the things which is important and also very important for people to understand, if you are in certain job role, if you're in English medium, you must highlight it here. So for example, St. Atries, senior secretary, there are class 12 non-medical. I don't know what that means, non-medical. It's a little confusing to me. But I would say class 12 and I write somewhere English medium.
TMD, I think by non-medical, he means he must have taken science, because if it is not PCM, they generally mention it as commerce. So maybe he's from commerce, or he didn't have biology as a subject.
You should write that. The non-medical, nobody understands. You should not write a terminology which other party doesn't understand. So you're not writing a resume for yourself. You're writing a resume for somebody else. So like if we can talk about, biology, and we say BYPC, or math, physics, chemistry, MPC, something we write in class 12. So we have to write that terminology, but highlight if you're English medium, please mention it here. Very important. Next comes the knowledge. I don't think I'm interested in knowledge. I'm interested in skills. So I'd have shifted the programming languages into the skills, right? It's also a skill. There's nothing like knowledge in programming. Either you're skilled in programming or you don't know the programming. So I will change the heading there. Go to the top. Instead of knowledge, I would say that these are all part of software skills, right? So it is all IT skills. I'll call it IT skills, and the below that other key skills in the heading, right?
Yeah.
I think what he means, IT skills should be on top. Experiences, training in web development, training in core Java, training in Python. All these are very powerful tools, but I don't know whether Python is reflected in the certification. Go up. Is there a certification mentioned there?
He mentioned it in knowledge. So
yeah,
maybe
so
if
certification is there, we must mention certification. Most of the IT companies are not accepting that you know the subject, it doesn't matter who has certified you, right? So you should say C++, Python within brackets, on to certification, Java. If you're putting a certification, wherever certification is available, please highlight. And that is, certification carries a lot of weight, especially third-party certification. Now, this is key skills. What he mentioned is what his personality is. Like, I'm punctual, reliable, hardworking, confident. Some of them I'll weave into the first top story which we talked about me. Who am I? I'm a very punctual and reliable person. I work very hard. I'm a very good learner. All these are very keywords which will help in the about me section. You can put some of them and put it there. But training, it says basically, I can't make out the experience is not chronological. I don't know whether it is. It looks like Chandigarh 20 to June, Jan to June. Then again it comes Google. The fundamental. These are all experience and courses he has done.
I think Great Learning is an app, so this looks like a course that he's done.
So it's not experience.
International as well. Yeah.
Experiences, people are asking, where are you working? Right? This is again some certification, maybe you can mention it, I don't know. Hobbies is not at all relevant. Playing volleyball, listening to music, traveling, I will not even put there. Languages will help to some extent. So this good news about it is only 2 pages. That's a good news. But I think some of the corrections which I would do is to rewrite this resume as if I'm writing for an IT job. Then for the IT job, again, it's going to be in testing or coding. If I'm applying for a coding job, I have to use those adjectives which are relevant for a coding job. How do you find out? You go online, you look for any job description. They will say, we're looking for some description. They will say in the posting, job posting. You pull that words from there and put it here. Are you understanding what I'm saying? If it is true for you. For example, a company says the job posting, they're looking for people with this certification, we're looking for analytical skills, etc. They mentioned, then you have to rephrase the same thing here. Then they'll pick you up because you're matching their specification with their people.
So before I go to the next resume, TMD, another important thing that I think I would like you to mention is how, so COVID, when COVID came and when we went into a lockdown, a lot of online certification opportunities we got, like free and paid courses, right? Udemy, Coursera, Unacademy and all that. How important, is it relevant to mention these certification if you've completed? Because I've seen a lot of people mention that they have done these certification courses on LinkedIn. But do employers or do recruiters find this interesting that I have done a certification course on, say, from Google on marketing, digital marketing? Google's digital marketing course is very famous. It's free and it's very famous. So is it important? How relevant is it? And should I or should I not mention these certifications on my CV?
Very, very, very clear. If the certification is not relevant to the role you're applying, don't mention it. It gives you an impression you're unemployed. You got fraud or certification. What are you going to do there? This job role requires only this certification. If you have the certification, rest of them, I won't mention it. Right?
Great. Okay. Usha Kiran, are you there on call? Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I am there. Very good evening.
Hi. Can you come on video? Would you be able to? Okay.
Hi, sir. Very good evening.
Hi. Good evening, Usha. You call Kiran, is the correct word?
Yes, sir. You can call me Kiran.
Yeah, because Usha looks to be a lady's
Uh,
women's.
yes, sir. But Usha Kiran, it's a name reflecting like it's a early morning sunrise. That's the reason take it.
All
Usha
right.
Kiran. Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, we are starting from saying, first of all, I like your picture there. It's a good thing to put sometime pictures. Of course, the picture should be, if I were you, if you're applying for a job, whether beard is good or not, you decide. See, the idea is not to show the right picture of yours. The idea is show a picture which I like, because I'm resume I'm reviewing, right? You're not making a picture for yourself. You're making a picture for me. So sometimes it may be good to wear a tie. Sometimes you wear something which is, again, depending on the IT job. IT job, they don't care about ties. They want to know looking as smart casuals is enough, right? So picture is good always. I think if you're applying your mind in terms of job role, which job role do you want to apply? Let me ask. You want to
Sir?
apply for a business development role? What do you want
Yes.
to apply?
I applied for business development manager, even for some of the tech team leader positions also.
Team leader position in business development in
Yes.
which industry? In service industry or which
Edutech,
industry?
in edutech platforms.
In
EduTech platforms, team.
pardon?
EduTech. Byju's, he's written
Byju's,
Byju's.
Unacademy, and for such kind of topper companies. Like.
All right. I've understood. Baiju kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Upgrade. So that's it.
Yes,
For example, you written nicely driven business development executive with carry a history of multi-state distributed business and proven skill in hiring, developing and retaining high performance teams, motivating leader. All these are very powerful words, right? I hope it is true. Do not write something which is not true. Tomorrow they will hold you accountable, highly skilled in change management. For example, if I ask you a question, okay, can you explain to me what do you mean by change management? What are the 3 steps you will do if you want to bring a change management in an organization? Then you should be able to answer it correctly, right? So don't put anything in it which you've not done. Don't put anything in it you can't explain and elaborate. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Other things I like that in building strategic relationship with key business, it is highly skilled in management transition and merger integration. I don't know what that means, but what you mean is that you are trying to take over a process. You are more a process transition or management transition. That means what company changed in management and you helped it. What do you mean by management transition?
So, management transactions means such kind of activities. It should be related to the customers to the company.
No, but normally a management transition means the managers, owners have quit, a new owners have come, and you manage that. That's what it means, right? So somebody must have given you these words. Did you write it or somebody wrote it for you? Cut and paste it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please don't do that. The
Yes.
words are right, but please write your own English because I will. How many more people are there, Akshita?
There are about 35 people online right now.
No. How many more resumes we're going to see?
One more. Sorry.
I'm going to tell a story for all of you to understand because I think Usha Kiran will understand. Like you, I went to an interview 30 years ago to Hindustan Lever. And one of the places I mentioned, I went for summer training to a place called an alcoholic beverages company. I wrote one small line. I left it. I didn't go for any summer training. I just added that because I thought it looks good as a resume. My bad luck. The chairman of the board picked up that and he asked me, Mr. Muralidharan, you went to this beverages or the alcohol company. Can you show me how the reactor looks like? I have not seen it. I've never went there. So I tried to do something on a diagram or a piece of paper. Then he told me, no, what is this? I said, no, sir, it's a schematic diagram I'm trying to put. He said, no, show me the real diagram. I said, I don't know. So I kept on adding. He said, where is the input side? What is the output side? Where is the stirrer? And then he showed it to everybody in the room. Can you, any of you recognize this, what Mr. Muralidharan has done? All the other board members were shaking their head. We don't know. He said, it looks like my tiffin box. And I was sacked from the meeting. I was asked to go. Never put on the resume a word which you cannot justify. It should be your words. Okay, that's one point. Now, in terms of company name and proper technologies, yes, this is nicely done. Company name separately. How long you worked is also very clear. 2021, that means you worked for 6 months in the first role, and now another you are working from 2021 to now is another 6 months, right? Almost 1 year you have, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you will see, one thing I told you about a resume. If you put it in front of somebody, the first question they'll ask you, why did you leave Byju's? Now we all know what Byju's is. I also know the high pressure
Yes.
environment, very work for late night. I don't care how you do. Lot of very difficult place to work. But you can't say in the interview all that, right?
Sir, in such kind of cases, we need to tell that such kind of job roles, I need to specify to learn something. Like in already established companies, whatever the things they are telling, we need to do such kind of job roles. But in a startup companies, we can learn so many things.
I know, but normally you learn after 2 years, right? You don't learn in 3 months or 4 months. That's a story
Yes,
you
sir.
can tell, but I won't buy it, right? So what
Yes,
you
sir.
need to be careful is, if your stint resume tells you very short stint in a company, you have to
Yes,
think through and tell a positive way of representation. For example, you can
Yes,
say
yes.
Byju is a great company. It's very successful in the market, but the way they manage their people is still evolving. And I was at a time in Byju's when the first set of people had joined, there was a lot of confusion in the managed people, and whereas Topper was much more organized, I went there. You understand?
Yes.
It's true or not is one part of the story, but second part is you present it in a positive way. You're not saying Byju's a lousy company, they don't know how to manage people. Moment you say that, I'm already got a negative mindset about you. So be prepared. In the interview, they might ask you, what is the resume? Don't use the career objective. Write about the first part. What you wrote is the about me, right? That's what I explained. The first paragraph, you rewrite it. Professional qualification, MBA. Now, when you look at this, my first question is it a full-time or a part-time or a
The
correspondence?
full time.
Full-time. So you have to mention full-time there, MBA full-time. If you don't mention,
Yes.
because you mentioned only 2021, suppose you written 2019-2021, then I know it's 2-year course, right?
Yes, sir.
So either you change the year of passing, the years, you write the year 2019-21 or MBA full-time. MBA full-time is 3 times more valuable than a part-time MBA. Okay. Now, the
Yes,
second
yes.
part is Vishwani Institute of Management. I know I come there to give a talk to Vishwani, as I was one of the persons invited. But if I can write something about Vishwani, top 25 MBA schools in Hyderabad, supposing I put some description. Oh, Acha, it's a good school. Well, good school. They know about Vishwani. Otherwise, the name only doesn't tell me anything. Okay. So I will put some descriptor there. Secondly, percentage of marks, you got 83.25. If you say that I'm the top 10% of the class, top 20% of the class, again, it gives you a feeling, oh, this guy is really doing well in the job. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you need to add some adjective. Then comes the academic qualification, degree. So the MBA is also part of academic qualification. So this should be one single box. I wouldn't separate MBA and academic qualification. Take the academic qualification on top and continue as one single thing, right?
Yes, sir.
I mentioned to you earlier, either all degree in intermediate or all what English medium or non-English medium?
No, sir. English medium only.
Yeah, so somewhere you should highlight that, because, and especially school, your schools are not there. Class up to class 10, where did you study?
Okay. Yeah, I skipped that because of the maximum they're looking for only the 3 of educations, like MBA and for degree and for the intermediates. That is the reason I thought that should be not enough.
If you fill up an online form, you may not have too many fields, but in your written resume, you have the flexibility. But in class 10, you studied in English medium or non-English medium?
English medium only.
So very important. People
Okay.
who studied up to class 10 English medium should mention it, because it is a big weightage point for shortlisting. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Then comes the technical skills. You have mentioned the languages known, web technologies and middle technologies. Now, we can't make out anything from this. Everybody's resume looks the same, right? What can you say about language? Have you got a certification from somebody? Web technology, there's no certification. You say Android. Brand image. To what? Secondly, how important is this for a business development role? If you are going to do
Sir,
something in development,
yes.
what's the point mentioning this?
Sir, this project is related to the marketing and for the branding of the companies. As of now, I was uploaded for the business development executive. And this is also related to the cases what we deal in the customers, related to the perceptions and what we interacted towards the customers. Those are come under with the part of this kind of projects. That's the reason I thought
See,
it should
I agree with you that the project description and project make sense. The language is known is not relevant. For
Yes,
this,
understand.
you remove that paragraph, I'll spend more time to explain broadly brand image toward Toyota Motors project, customers brand image towards luxury items. I collected the information regards the how regards is not correct word regarding. So you must get your English correct. If you have
Yes.
something with poor English, your marks have gone down by 20% overnight, right? So get it reviewed by uncle, somebody to review and change it. How the customers are preferred the brand item. No, the whole English is bad. What you're trying to say, I collected information on how customers prefer brands. How do they choose the brand, right? What kind of actions are required, and therefore what kind of actions are required. And then I would write 3 things which I recommended are. I would write that because otherwise it's generic, right? So what did you finally recommend? What kind of actions are required? 3 actions required as per you mentioned should be there. Then it makes sense to me.
Yes.
Okay. Areas of interest, content writing, spoken English. See, again, it's not relevant to the business development role you apply. Marketing management is understood. Content writing is not really relevant for a marketing person, right? Digital marketing, if you know, it's useful. If I were you, I'll go and get a certification in digital marketing and add it here. That it makes sense, correct? And also CRM. Everybody now uses CRM, right? So some expertise and qualification in CRM I will use that, but otherwise the things like content writing is not relevant. Okay. Attended 3 months of summer training, cut it. Not at all worth it. 1 month, nobody reads, nobody gives weightages, right? Then other ones, language is known, achievement. No, achievement should come right on top. Okay. Remove the father, mother name, language is known in the bottom. They're not very important. So I told you, you got only 15 seconds. I have to decide to throw Usha Kiran resume left hand side, right hand side. So you have to prioritize and put the important ones on the first page. As much as possible. Again, page numbering is also important. There's no page number here. And you got 2 among 5. Go down. What is page number below that? Go down.
The blank pages thing.
So why would you have 3 blank pages?
So it was by mistakenly it was added while I am doing the resume. I'm not checked up because before going to share. That's the reason.
Try and make it into 1 page, Usha Kiran. There is no story to tell more than 1 page.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
And pack it so that it's very nicely packed. And I said again, I gave you that first. She showed you one sheet. First sheet she showed you that who am I, what am I doing right now. Those one sheet she will send it to all of you. Please use that template. Everything is there. It should be clean. There should not be a single spelling mistake. One spelling mistake, you're done. Right? And secondly, you should never write a grammar which I cannot understand. So please show it to some friends and rewrite it. I told you my friend and me took 9 meetings we had to write the resume. And he's a IIT, I mean, all kind of smart guy. Still, we wrote 9 sessions we had. So your resume, you should take a lot of time to write it. The standard resume, then you can correct it on case-to-case basis. But standard resume should take a lot of time. Okay. All right. Was it useful? Are you okay? Whatever I gave you feedback.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I will working on that. I will make improvement in that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kiran. And if you have any career doubts, you can always reach out to us and we can help you get answers.
Yeah, definitely. I will ask all. Definitely.
Thank you so much. So TMD, now I would like to, before going on to the 4th resume, you've been mentioning throughout the session that if you are from English medium, mention that you're from English medium. What should the people who are from Telugu medium or Hindi medium do?
Keep quiet.
Okay. No, but
you must tell the rule of resume is tell the truth, the whole truth.
Nothing but
the truth, you cut it out.
Okay.
Sir, sorry for the interruptions. I have some doubt in that.
Yeah, please.
Sir, you told that need to mention like a very specifically which medium belongs. If if I belongs to Telugu medium, when I from degree also. After that, I selected for English medium. If in that cases, resume looks like that I am from the Telugu medium from until degree. After that, only I choose an English medium. There is a huge chances to get reject sometimes. Like that person is looking for English candidates only, fluent in English, and that will be reflect sometimes. I think so. There is a chances to reject also when we are mentioning the medium while we are mentioning the classes.
No, I think you didn't get what I said. I said, if you're an English medium, mention it. If you're Telugu medium, don't mention it.
Okay, understand.
That's what I said. You don't have to be completely truthful. You have to be true, speak the truth,
Yes.
the whole truth, but nothing but the truth not required. If it's not favorable, then don't mention it. That's what I said.
Yes, understand.
Also, I think, TMD, a lot of people mention that their hobbies are reading books, not particularly Kiran, but other people also have seen. Many people mention that their hobbies are reading books, and they fumble, or they hesitate to tell the names because they have not read books. Like listening to music and reading books is something standard that people put. How much does it annoy, or how much does it matter to the recruiters?
Reading books doesn't mean a thing. Nobody believes it. Most of us watch YouTube. The world has moved into watching videos now, or pods. These are two most common ways. So there's no need to mention about reading unless you're a content writer. You're writing for a content writer role, then you should say, I read fiction, non-fiction, variety of books, because then it makes sense. It's connected with the job role. For a programmer, or you're doing a sales guy, what is the relevance? What is not relevant, don't put it. Because they'll ask you questions. What books do you read? Many times I ask, whenever people put, sir, I read books. Okay, what book did you read last 1 week? Sir, I was very busy. Last 1 month, I've been busy. You never read.
Agreed.
Why bullshitting?
So this is the last resume, but unfortunately, Kishore couldn't join us. So, but we have shortlisted this resume. So let's just review this resume now.
Professional summary, again, is put his contacts on top clearly. It is good. Then 4 years of IT experience, which is very clearly, is very important. Very, very important IT to define how many years of experience and in what. It's very clearly mentioned on top, right?
Yeah.
And which is the environment is mentioned. What is the language? IBM WebSphere application server. That's very clearly mentioning what he has done. And then installation, experience installation, Apache. So if you look at that, there's a lot of technology in it, right? It is absolutely essential when you're applying for an IT job, put as much of technology in it, like server 8x and 9x in. These are all very important. The versions are very important. Whenever you look at IT, you want to know which version that you run, right? So all this is done correctly, but I think he's written too much for a 4-year experience, and he's got a risk of being, somebody might ask you, when you say generated thread dumps and heap dumps for development team to troubleshoot, they'll ask you, give me a project, give me an example. What are the methodology you will use? How do you know? So you should have done it. If you want to put something here, please put only something you have done and you're able to answer very deep dive questions on it. Otherwise, don't put it. It's not relevant to put so many things, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, technical skills, databases, again, is repeating itself. I don't think it's required. All of them already been covered. I'm not giving much importance to that. Educational qualification, Bachelor of Technology in 2016, JNTU, Kakinada. It is not clear from this whether it's on computer science or which branch it is. If in computer science, I will mention. If it's not computer science, I'll keep quiet. Because I'm applying for an IT job, computer science is useful, or a computer application. Currently working as a consultant in TCS. So what it looks like that to me as a consultant, the question is, are you in third-party roles or you are in TCS roles? So if I'm in TCS roles, I'm definitely working in TCS. The moment you say working as a consultant in TCS, it means that you're third-party role. A third-party role is less valuable, right? Now you mentioned some projects, SBI, consultant, participating weekly. So this is not important. Responsibilities are not important. What is the outcome? He's not mentioned. He should not. There's no important. Any kind of projects when you look at, people want to know what is the outcome you achieve. the project. That I installed a system or developed a software which did this. That is outcome, right? Otherwise, you're writing all of them are my responsibilities. Nobody cares. I wouldn't put responsibilities at all. A number of pages are increasing. He doesn't have a page number here also.
3 pages is what
Yeah,
Word is
page number is absolutely 3 pages too long.
Yeah.
Should not be, again, because it written a lot of same thing is written. Knowledge in providing high availability workload management. I would cut it down. Okay.
That's all.
Yeah.
The resume is ended.
So I think it's a good resume. I think some of the fonts can be improved. It's very weak font he has used compared to the earlier people. Fonts are a little stronger. So you should use power words. He's not described his personality. Who is he? That about me, one paragraph he still has to write. He directly jumped into technology. So I would put a one paragraph on about me and cut down these responsibilities and focus on outcomes. What did you achieve at the end of the project?
From your video about one resume secret, I found out that the one thing to do on like when you make your resume is to customize your resume as per the employer or the company and the role that you're applying for. What is the one thing that you should absolutely not do? Not mention, not do when you're making your resume. One thing that you should absolutely not do.
See, the biggest mistake people do, they send the wrong resume to the wrong job. You made a resume for a business development guy and send it to IT company, IT jobs. So the first, most important, you read the job description, see what you are doing and make out whether this resume matches that or not. Right? Now, many people know that, when you go as a minister, what happens, there is a lot of jokes on it. Minister is given a speech to read, right? Sometimes they give the wrong speech to him. So the guy goes to a funeral and he's praising. I'm very happy to be here and all this because somebody is given a resume called a funeral, right? So it's important for people to understand that resume match to the job role is the number one thing you must achieve. If you don't achieve that, everything else waste of time. Second, of course, spelling mistakes, grammatical mistakes. Never. You must correct it 10 times to get it right.
Thank you so much, TMD. This was a very interesting session, and I'm hoping that more people will register and want to get their resumes reviewed by you. So I want to end this session by thanking everybody who joined us and everybody who's got their resumes reviewed by us. Any career related questions that you might have, you can come on the YouTube channel and post those comments, because there is a playlist dedicated to these questions called You Ask TMD Answers, where any question that you guys ask specific to you, the answers I shoot the answers with them and those answers are posted on that playlist. There is another playlist called Hot Topics, and we get from an AI engine that we use, and whatever the topics are running career related on the web, we get those answers. And the third one is Find Your Right Job. I would request TMD to take 1 minute to tell something about Find Your Right Job playlist, and we can then close the session.
See, I think the biggest mistake people do, youngsters do, take the first available job. They don't know the company, they don't know the job, and they believe they can do any job. I, for example, cannot do any job. There are certain jobs I cannot do. If I stand on my head also, I cannot do. What do you mean by I cannot do? I can do the job, but I'll do so poorly, I'll get thrown out of the job. So first thing on career is getting your personality fit with the kind of career jobs or right first job you are selecting. If you don't get that right, you'll be going around in circles. You jump one job, second job, third job, you will not be there. People who are successful, they just take off. They are in the right first job. That's all the message.
Thank you so much, TMD. So I'm going to end this session by telling you guys to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit on the bell icon so that you don't miss an update from us. This is a dedicated channel to the youth of India, and we are trying to help you guys in your career, in your jobs, and any questions that you have, you guys can ask us. We are also there on Instagram with the same handle, Clan Career Convo. You can follow us. You can ask questions anywhere you want. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great day, everybody.